Hi guys, welcome back to the another episode of Journey with Pushpak podcast. I'm your host Pushpak, and today we have with us Sarang Joshi once again. Welcome to the show, man. How are you?
I am good, bro. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine,
How's
man.
the post-lockdown period?
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It's fucking crazy. Never imagined this kind of things will
Yeah.
happen.
Nobody imagined it. Nobody
Yeah,
imagined it.
yeah. What about you, man? How's it
So
going?
it's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. Everything is not exactly in any sort of hustle mode right now, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's managing to breathe every single day. That's enough.
Surviving. That's the thing
Surviving.
right
Yeah,
now.
that's the word
Yeah.
I'm looking for. Yeah, surviving. Yep.
Like I was wondering, man, I was thinking about it. Like right now is the time of Christmas and New Year. Basically, we're entering into a new year, and what usually people do is they set up this fitness goals. They start going to gym, and I don't know, go to like come up with new diet plans and stuff. But they do it for like 15 to 20 days, and that's it. Then back to normal
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about that only, man. Like people and you have also talked about a lot about this, like people go into fitness and then they lose their weight or they become more healthy, and then after some times they get back to their normal lifestyle, right? So they are not maintaining it basically. So
Yeah,
how do
yeah.
we maintain this lifestyle, maintain a healthy lifestyle, body and mind basically?
Okay. That's a very good question. So basically, that's a two-part question, right? Like, how do you,
Yeah.
keep up your New Year's resolution, and how do you do it in a sustainable way? So yeah, New Year is a great time for all the nutritionists. We earn a lot of money during this time,
Yeah.
which is the best time of the year. Like, there's a lot of sales going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so right. So what people do is they keep unrealistic goals, and that is the major reason why they fail in any process that has to do with health, weight loss, fitness, building muscle, any that sort of thing. Because it is advertised in a way in media, social media, that it can be like achieved in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, something like that, right? Like we
Right.
see these transformation videos of like Bollywood actors, Hollywood actors, and we think
Mm-hmm.
it's a piece of like koi bhi kar lega, right? Like people have this idea that they have to put in a lot amount of effort into it, a lot of hard work into it, and still they can achieve it, and things like that, and that's perfectly fine. But then they don't understand how boring this work is, right? They think that
Mm-hmm.
this is very rewarding, and when
Right.
you start doing it, let's say someone's goal is to lose, let's say, 20 kgs, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to lose 20 kgs in 2021. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you set that sort of goal, right? And you set on you start a diet or something like that, you join your gym or something like that, right? And then you start losing weight. Yeah, you're going to get that reward. You are going to start losing weight, you're going to even further starve yourself, you're going to burn your ass in the gym, do all those sorts of things, and let's say you do lose 20 kgs in 2021, right? But what
Right.
after that? What after that? Right? There is really no reward in that process of maintaining your weight, right? Let's say
Mm-hmm.
if a guy is 25 years old and he loses 20 kgs in a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
He needs to live the next 50 years of his life, which is going to be a very boring thing, like eating salad every single day, eating egg whites every single day, right? So
Right.
you
Right.
need to first like reframe the whole process inside of your mind that this is not a rewarding process. There is not going to be a reward constantly, right?
Right.
You need
Mm-hmm.
to follow a healthy diet because that's what an adult is supposed to do. An adult is supposed to take care of his health.
Mm-hmm.
An adult is supposed to take care of his diet, have control over his health, over his food, and things like that, right? So you don't. So what I mean to say is, if you're going to set New Year resolutions with respect to health or weight, don't keep it as a number. I want to lose X amount of weight, I want to
Mm-hmm.
get abs, I want to build X amount of muscle or something like that. Keep it as, I'm going to try and improve my habits, so to say. I'm going to try and eat more vegetables in 2021. I'm going to try eat more protein in 2021. Things
Mm-hmm.
that a responsible adult does, and that sort of is along the lines of developing a discipline instead of having a reward or having a glorious goal, that you
Mm-hmm.
can show off on Instagram or something like that, because the later is not sustainable, right? As
Right.
long as you do the basic things, only if you do the basic things, like the basic boring stuff day in and day out, then only you're going to achieve any sort of reward in that whole process. So I'll say, instead of keeping things like like this glorious goal, keep it as to develop a discipline in
Mm-hmm.
your eating habits, eating behaviors, those sorts of things.
So how do we do that when people don't know like what to eat, what not to eat? And as you said, like you won't eat egg whites, for the rest of your life. So how do we
Mhm,
choose
mhm.
these foods? Like if we are in the Indian household, right? Means there are ज़्यादा खाना healthy नहीं होता है basically. Like there's so much oil and ghee and all these things, and we use roti. We eat roti a lot, and then it contains gluten, and we don't
Mhm.
eat सब्जी a lot. मतलब हमारे यहाँ पे basically सब्जी कम होती है, रोटी और राइस ज़्यादा होता है basically, right? So how do
Yeah,
we,
yeah, yeah,
like अगर किसी को मतलब suppose I want to start basic मुझे diet, क्या करना चाहिए suppose किसी को, suppose someone wants to get in a better shape or just
okay.
yeah, so how do you do that?
How do you begin the process?
Yeah, how do you begin the
That's what
process?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very very good question. And I always say, so the majority of the clients that I take, right,
Mm-hmm.
they are not really very complicated, right? I just make them do the bare basic minimum things that they're supposed to do, that
Mm-hmm.
even they themselves though that know that they should be doing, right? It's losing weight, getting in shape, getting healthy is just about doing the bare minimum basic things with food and with health, right? So I'll give you a few examples, right? So there are basically 3 to 5 things when it comes to, let's say, improving your diet, right?
Mm-hmm.
One is, let's start from something as simple as eating more vegetables, right?
Mm.
Everyone knows that they should be eating more vegetables, they should be eating more fruits, right?
Right, right.
What's stopping you to not do that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
instead of, again, keeping glorious goals for new year, keep it as simple as, I'm going to eat like 3 servings of vegetables every single day. Like a
Right.
serving meaning, let's say a katori or something like that. So I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
eat 3 katoris of vegetables every single day. So another major pillar of a good health, good diet is your protein intake. That is super super important. And if anyone who is listening who has checked out my page, you will see that this is all I talk about. Protein is all I talk about, because protein.
Mm-hmm.
If you just eat enough protein, like I would say 70 to 80% of your problems become easy, right? So protein is something that is one of my favorite things to talk about in nutrition, because
Mm-hmm.
protein makes things super super easy. If you just eat enough protein, it takes care of majority of the rules,
Mm-hmm.
that you have
Mm-hmm.
to follow in
Yeah.
order to achieve a good weight or a good health, right? So I'd say that if you want to set a goal with protein, I'd say setting it as the bare minimum amount of body weight that you have in kgs. You need to eat the same amount of grams of protein, right? So if you have 70 kg body weight, then you
Mm-hmm.
sort of need to eat 70 grams of protein. If you have 100 kg body weight, you sort of need to eat at least like a bare minimum of 100 grams of protein, right?
Per day or
So
per meal?
and I say per day, per
Okay.
per meal 100 grams would be a lot of it. So per day, if you know the basics of nutrition, which you can learn pretty much on YouTube these days, there are
Right.
like millions of videos on these things, right? How to
Right.
eat enough protein, how to
Mm-hmm.
include more vegetables. You will find millions of videos on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So eating more vegetables, eating more protein, trying to limit the snacking that we do throughout the day, unnecessary snacking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bored, I'm going to go into the kitchen, look in the fridge if there is something to eat, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever, I'm stressed out, then I'm going to go look for chocolates or some sweet or something like that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
emotional, I'm going to go and look for some snacks or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
these stupid snacking habits, right, that we can easily control, not easily, but we know we should control, and with a little bit of effort anyone can control these. So
Right.
vegetables, enough protein intake, not snacking. Or the last thing I would like to tell is, a lot of people are 100% going to make this mistake if they're going to set new year resolution, or not new year resolution, basically any health goal any time
Mm-hmm.
of the year, is that they straight away cut all the junk food, right? They straight away cut all the junk food and say that I'm not going to eat anything from outside, I'm not going to eat
Mm-hmm.
any sugar, I'm not going to eat any maida or those sorts of thing, anything that is processed and junk from outside. That is the stupidest thing you can do, right?
Why?
So that doesn't work for anybody, that is just not sustainable, right? So let's say tomorrow I wake up and I say I'm not going to eat sugar, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
consume sugar, I'm not going to consume sugar, I'm not going to consume processed foods, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what this is going to do is, it's going to, if I do this for, let's say, 30 days, 60 days, it's going to help me lose weight. But if I don't plan to avoid it for the rest of my life, all this is going to do is going to make me develop eating disorders. It's going to make me develop anxiety around food, such that when I see a pizza, it's going to make me anxious that if I eat that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to gain weight. I'm going to start gaining weight, right?
Oh.
Even though it is nothing like that, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
start thinking that, and you're going to start creating those stupid behavior patterns and psychological loops inside of your head that is going to create more and more anxiety around food, right?
Right.
And after you are done with your stupid little phase, you are going to gain way more weight than you have lost, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that just doesn't work, right? So going on any sort of restrictive approach is the stupidest thing, in my opinion, that you can do, right? For some people, like for a very small amount of people, that does seem to work, right? Like people go on ketogenic diet, they avoid
Mm-hmm.
all carbohydrates, they lose weight, and they even continue doing it for the rest of your life, of their life. But how many people can really do that sort of restrictive approach, right?
Right.
So
Right.
every single day that you are dieting or you are trying to set any health goal, you need to remind yourself, can I do this for the rest of my life? Only if the answer is yes, you do that approach, right? So I'll say these
Mm-hmm.
3 to 5 things: eating more fiber, eating more vegetables, eating more fruits, eating more nutrient dense whole foods. Like, let's say, did you know there are like 130 different types of legumes in India? How
Oh.
many do we eat? 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Like masoor ki dal, tur ki dal. That's it. From the top of my head. Beans, rajma, chole. That's it, right? We hardly like 6 or 7, right? But there are
Yeah.
so many types of legumes that have a ton of micronutrients that you can include, right? I I haven't even gone on the meat side, which is my favorite topic to
Yeah. Yeah.
talk
Let's
about,
go
right?
there, man. Like, yeah.
All right, all right. So yeah, so I'll just finish this. So
Yeah. Yeah.
what
Sure.
you need to do is you need to focus on the basic things if you want real weight
Mm-hmm.
loss goals. If you want to produce real weight loss progress in your health, progress in your fitness, you need to focus on the bare basic things. Do those bare basic boring things day in and day out, and in 3 months or 6 months you're going to see a ton of difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So about the meat thing, man, I have like like I think you like I don't I think you post a lot about it, like the about the meat and all. So
Mhm.
and like a lot of people in India are vegetarians, and a lot of people hate like meat eaters also. And there's I heard this thing which shows that the consumption of meat is not good for global warming also. I heard this kind of things also. So
Yeah.
what's your take on that? Like how good meat is for us and like all these things.
Okay. All right. So cool. So what happens is I'm gonna try and cover this topic from all sides. Going to try to be objective and unbiased in this
Mm-hmm.
as much as I can. So first of all, I love meat. I fucking love meat. Okay. I cannot eat enough of it. Right. So what I believe from all the research that I have done from reading first and into the scientific literature and everything. So see, there are about half of the micronutrients that the human body absolutely needs to
Mm-hmm.
stay healthy, right? To function at its 100%. You cannot get that in vegetarian food, period, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is one of the biggest argument that, yeah, these vegans try to put holes in, that you can get B12 in lentils, you can get B6 in lentils, you can
Mm-hmm.
get zinc in this, etc., etc. Just one second, I'm getting a message, so
Yeah.
sorry
Yeah.
about that. Okay. So a lot of like vegans and vegetarian proponents tell you that you can get all the micronutrients that you need in a vegetarian diet, in a vegan sort of food, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, most of these nutrients these people claim that are exclusively found in actual meat, in vegetarian foods, they're not bioabsorbable. So what I mean by that is, even if you eat it, even if on theory, on paper, they have those nutrients, when you
Mm-hmm.
eat it, you have to have really good genetics to absorb those nutrients from that food, which doesn't happen in 99% of the population, right?
Right.
So this is one of the major reasons that I think people need to eat meat, right? If you take there are a lot of studies that show that 95% or so of the Indians, or I'm linking on this, or it is Indians or vegetarians, they're
Mm-hmm.
deficient in B12, right? Vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is one of the most important nutrient inside of your body, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you look at it, like, there are several trains running inside of your body, there are several departments inside of your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to function efficiently, each train needs to run smoothly on time,
Right.
right? B12 is one of the major regulators of which train is going to run when. So if you are deficient in it, your body is fucked up, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
So so micronutrient is one of the points, right? I'm trying not to go in 10 different directions.
Mm-hmm.
So micronutrient is one of the points that I really think that eating meat for humans is really, really important, right? Now there's this whole side of global warming, and
Right.
if eating meat is sustainable, right, it needs a lot of water, it needs other things, right? So the thing is, agriculture needs that as well. Green
Mm-hmm.
agriculture takes a lot more resources than meat agriculture, right? So if you take something like corn, or if you take something like wheat, right,
Mm.
that I will say 99.99% people eat in India. Everybody eats wheat in
Right.
India.
Yeah.
Everybody eats wheat all over the world. Like if you go in United States, Europe, most of these people also eat corn, right?
Right.
These foods are super deficient in any of the nutrients. They do provide carbohydrates and those sorts of things, but
Mm-hmm.
those sorts of things, but they are deficient in micronutrients, right? But we still, as a human race, put a lot of resources into these in harvesting, in basically producing these
Right.
grains and everything.
Yeah.
But when it comes to meat, something that is super nutrient dense, something that is scientifically proven that you need, like a human being is an omnivore. It is proven, right?
Yeah.
We study it in textbooks in like primary school that we are omnivores. We are not herbivores, right? We cannot
Yeah.
survive on eating grass, right? We need meat. We need eggs, right? Why not put all those resources into producing sustainable better quality meat, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there are these studies done now. I'm not very sure about these, but there are sustainable practices of practicing animal agriculture, right?
Right.
Say bison, or say goat, say chicken, say pigs, and all of these animals. This hasn't happened in India. This has happened in the United States, such that they basically do the agriculture in a way. They basically farm these animals in a way where the meat quality is super good.
Mm-hmm.
These animals get to live in grasslands, in open areas, like almost in their natural habitat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say for every unit of animal or something like that, the carbon there's a carbon sink, right? So the carbon that goes into the air, right, which is basically how we measure pollution, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
a net carbon sink in these sustainable practices of animal agriculture. So not only are these agriculture practices not harmful for the environment, they help the environment. So the
Are,
carbon footprint is a net negative in sustainable agriculture practices, right?
are this
So
thing
the
going
only
in India
problem,
also? This
no, it is not
practices?
happening because it needs a lot of money. It needs a lot of money. It needs
Mm-hmm.
land, and most of the land is, guess where it is going?
Right.
Agriculture, green agriculture,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I just think that, as a race, and this is very hypothetically, nobody's going to listen to me, but if the resources that are going into green agriculture, if they go into meat agriculture, then your people are going to get more healthy physically, mentally, and just in general, and environment is going to kick ass, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that, I don't think so is happening any soon. But people are working on it. I mean, there are really smart people than me that are working on it, so that's
Like,
great.
so in India we have like we have chicken, we have mutton. So like I heard about the red meat. So in red meat, उसमें ज़्यादा cholesterol होता है. I heard about this. Is it true? Like how
Mm.
which meat is good? Like should we eat more chicken or mutton? Like a white meat is good or the red meat is good for us? And what about fish
See,
also?
so yeah, we'll talk about all three. So what
Yeah.
happens is this question is a little vague, right? So if you would have asked me just 2 years ago, I would straight away say that there is a hierarchy. You need to eat more red meat than fish.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you are still hungry, you're gonna eat chicken, right?
Yeah.
So, but I don't answer this because see, yeah, so red meat does have cholesterol, right?
Mm.
Whole eggs does have cholesterol. The
Right.
majority of the studies do say that if you're a healthy individual, there's really no limit. Cholesterol isn't really a nutrient of concern, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not going to give you heart disease, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dietary cholesterol doesn't increase the cholesterol inside of your blood, right? It isn't that straightforward.
Yeah.
Whether you have high cholesterol and whether you have a risk for heart disease mostly is dependent upon your overall lifestyle. How stressed you are, do you smoke, do you drink, how you sleep,
Mm-hmm.
how is your overall diet, do you exercise, what is your body fat percentage, what is your weight. Those things primarily, like I would say, I'm throwing this number, in the air. I'm not sure about this, but I would say at least 90% of the chances whether or not you will get a heart disease is decided upon these basic factors, not
Right.
whether there's cholesterol in your meat, in your food or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's also something called saturated fat in meat, right? Those are linked a little bit with increasing your cholesterol and increasing your heart disease. But this is in a very big picture. I mean, this is really not proven yet, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the upside that you get by eating more meat, let's say red meat, the amount of micronutrients that you're going to get when you eat fish, the omega-3 that you're going to get, the essential
Mm-hmm.
fatty acids that you're going to get, the micronutrients, especially the protein you're going to get, which every single person is deficient in India. Not every single person, but most of the people are super deficient in India, not
Right.
even consuming the bare amount they need to, to really have a healthy brain function and have a healthy bodily function. They are not eating enough protein. So
Mm-hmm.
eating meat is so much, I mean, the upside of eating meat is so much more than any downside to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these little questions like cholesterol or saturated fat, I'm sure you're not going to consume like a kg of mutton every single day, right? If you
Yeah.
consume mutton, you're probably consuming 200 grams of it a week, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
eat it with rice and roti and things like that. That's a different question. But
Yeah.
yeah, so if I want to talk about what is better, I would say if you eat twice a week or so at least red meat, that's going to provide you with a good amount of micronutrients that otherwise you won't get.
Mm-hmm.
Fish is something that again twice a week, thrice a week is going to help you a ton with like your essential fatty acids, with your brain function, with the heart
Mm-hmm.
health, with the inflammation in your body. And chicken is something that you can pretty much eat every single day. Chicken has absolutely no downside to it, even in theory. No meat has, in my opinion. But
Mm-hmm.
there are these smart stupid vegans that argue against red meat and things like that. But in chicken, very few people actually say that chicken, or let's say lean fish, is going to cause any problem at all, even if you eat it daily, right? So
Mm-hmm.
eating meat every single day, at least chicken, is going to help you massively than not eating it. I'm talking about help as in it's going to increase your health span. So you want to be 70 and you want to be able to run, you want to be able to sit down, right? You want to be able to play, right? You don't want to be stuck to a wheelchair or something like that. So it's going to help you in all kinds of way, but majorly it's going to help you with your health span and your lifespan, which is extremely important.
Cool.
What is more important than living more or living a healthier life?
Yeah. So you also talk about mind a lot, right? Matlab, it impacts our mind, healthy diet. Like
Yeah,
if we
yeah, it
eat,
does.
okay,
Mhm.
cool.
So
Yes.
is there any question coming around that?
Yeah. So how means how should I ask this question? Matlab, how it impacts. Let me reframe it. How it can help us? Like, does a good diet help our mental health also? Like, if we are eating more meat, it can help with our thoughts also. If like maybe with anxiety, depression, do you think this is related to like food is related to that also?
Yeah, most certainly. So, with respect to meat and depression and everything, there are plenty of anecdotal evidences, right? So, anecdotal evidences is people have done it and they found it really helpful. They found it
Hmm.
super helpful, right? People who have had depression, deep depression, went on these high meat-based diet and they felt really good. Now,
Seriously?
we don't yeah, and there are like thousands of these people. I'm
Damn.
not talking, I'm not kidding, right? But the thing is, we don't consider this as real evidence in science because this was not controlled, right? This was not well, there are many technical terms that I won't throw it here, but this is not a real scientific experiment, we call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
A real
Mm-hmm.
scientific experiment is when all the most of the factors are in our control. We collect all the data, we analyze the data, and then we come to results, right? So this is not the sort of thing I'm talking about. Anecdotal evidences is there are a lot of stories behind them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even if we don't go there, that if meat can help you with your mental health and everything, just normal food helps you with your, I mean, there's a definitely 100% proven scientific connection that if you eat shitty food, your brain is going to be shitty, right?
Right.
Your mood is going to be shitty, your attention is going to be shitty, which is something extremely important, I consider, to have a proper attention to live a happy and fulfilling life. The third
Right.
is not having the basic cognition, not having a properly working memory.
Mm-hmm.
People forget words, people forget the names of their friends, people, it's just memory. There's a lot of, we call this, there's a technical term for this that I'm not remembering. How ironic is this? I'm not remembering the technical term for the what they call this short term sort of memory problem.
Mm-hmm.
If we are like really stressed out, we tend to forget some things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a legit disease or something like that. It's just a symptom that occurs when your brain isn't functioning very healthy, right?
Right.
So these sorts of things basically have these are like your attention, your cognition, your memory, how good you feel, how happy you feel, how confident you feel. That is something that I have experienced myself as well. That if
Damn.
you eat shitty food, you are not going to function properly. And if you eat healthy food, if you get all your nutrients, if you eat enough protein, if you feel your body nice, you are going to feel that difference in your body, in your energy levels, in your mental capabilities to do more work for longer hours and things like that. So there's definitely a connection there. I mean, it's established scientifically.
Bro, but nowadays lot of food and lot of veggies and fruits and all they consume, like I think they contain some kind of chemicals and all, right? All things are not
Mhm,
organic, just like
mhm.
it used to be like couple of years back. So right now everyone using chemicals and all. So how do we, like how we can overcome this? Like how we should find the right food? Like if everyone is using chemicals and stuff.
Yeah, that's a very common question. People use this as an excuse कि सभी में तो chemical है, सभी में कुछ ना कुछ
हाँ
problem है,
एक्चुअली
तो
सब
let's
में ही है
just
वैसे.
fuck it completely. So people say let's just fuck it completely and just
Mm-hmm.
eat whatever we want, right? It's not like that. It's seriously not like that, right?
Okay.
So first of all, let's talk about science, right? There is really not enough scientific evidence to suggest that the pesticides and all these sorts of things that go into fruits, vegetables, grains, and all
Mm.
of these things actually cause problems. These are mere theories, right? People throw around words, people throw around blogs and stuff like that, and videos
Right,
and
right, right.
books even on media and social
Mm-hmm.
media, and create this misinformation that you know pesticides used in apple farming or something like that are very harmful to you, so stop eating apples, right? There's really no evidence for that, right? There's a
Right.
little there's going to be pesticides, there's going to be chemicals, but these are very strictly regulated by government, right? This is not
Mm-hmm.
something like, right, government, there are agencies for these that strictly regulate what goes into our food, right? And only when it is proven safe by many experiments does it come to market, right? So it's okay if you don't have money to buy organic, don't buy organic. And first of all, organic we don't even get in India. Like most of the organic things that we get. So I don't know if you remember. So in Pune and these big cities, there is a store called Nature's Basket,
Right.
right? So
Mm.
basically, Godrej's product. So they sell these like organic berries and organic guavas and organic apples and things like that, and they're shit expensive. It's like
Mm.
1,000 rupee kilo or something like that. Who's gonna
Right.
buy that? Nobody's gonna buy that, right? Nobody has the money to buy that except like maybe the Ambanis themselves, right? Or the
Mm-hmm.
Godrej themselves, right? So this kisi ka bhi Godrej hai, I don't know. So so what I mean to say is you can buy normal food, right? Up until now, there is absolutely no evidence that this is going to cause any legit problems in your health in long term, right? So that is just something I'd say. Don't worry about it. Just eat your food. Eat regular food. Like
Huh, right.
the nutrients that you're going to get from apples, right, are going to
Mm-hmm.
be again. We compare the upside and the downside. Nutrients we get from apple, huge upside, right? The minuscule amount of pesticide that you potentially might get from eating an apple, it's a very minimal downside that we don't even care about.
Right. Anyways, we are eating wheat and rice. उसमें भी chemicals है ही वैसे. So why not
Yeah,
eat
yeah,
apple? Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Fruits and vegetables, yeah.
Yeah. So like a good diet also impacts our like skin and hair also, right? Like जो
Yeah,
भी
yeah,
skin
totally.
acne and dandruff and all. Can it also help with
Yeah,
that?
100%, 100%. So see, a lot of people. So I'm gonna just throw in some few points on these things,
Hmm.
your skin, hair, and everything. So when people lose weight, this symptom is basically accentuated, that their skin sort of worsens and they start to lose a lot of hair, right? Or their
Hmm.
nails sort of get a little brittle, right? So
Okay.
this is one of the best example to explain this is when people lose weight, right? their body sort of needs more protein because shit is breaking down inside their body, right, to
Mm-hmm.
burn as fuel, right? But
Mm-hmm.
people don't eat enough protein, and then they face these issues, right? A lot of normal people who are not trying to lose weight and just leading a normal life also experience all these issues like hair fall, skin, and everything. And I would say 80% of the cause behind that is just that you're not eating enough protein. Your body doesn't, so what the major job of protein is to build stuff, right? So your
Mm-hmm.
body uses protein to build stuff, right? So it's
Okay.
your bones, your skin, your eye, everything, any structure that you see inside of your body
Mm-hmm.
that is
Right.
solid, it's built from protein, right? And if you're deficient in protein, the first thing your body is going to do is cut the input of protein into departments that are not so useful, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your body doesn't really care if your hair falls. What's the application of hair? Just to look good, right? So your
Right.
body doesn't give, right? Your body rather would make the necessary hormones. Your body would rather build you muscle, or your
Mm-hmm.
body would rather, build your heart tissue and things like that, right? Repair your heart tissue and things like that. So if you so major if you want to take care of your skin, your health, your hair, your nails, and all those sorts of things, I'd say protein is the thing that you need to look for, right? And the second thing is eating shitty food also hugely impacts your skin and how you look, appearance, right?
Mm-hmm.
I might not be able to break it down exactly what happens because this is not really my expertise, but let's say eating a lot of sugar, eating a lot of processed foods, right, eating a
Mm-hmm.
lot of desserts is going to show up on your skin, right? And if you just go, let's say 30 days or so, where you try to eat better, you don't have to avoid all of these things. You can eat it.
Mm-hmm.
You can eat sugar in moderation, you can eat processed food in moderation, but limit it. Try and eat
Right.
more fruits and vegetables. Try and eat more eggs. Try and eat more chicken. Try and eat more lentils, yogurt, all those sorts of things, right? So if you just make a little change, you're going to start to see differences in your skin, your complexion, your hair, everything that is, comes in this whole appearance sort of category. You're
Right.
definitely going to see a difference. So
Cool.
limiting shitty food and eating more protein and more micronutrients to like vegetables, lentils, legumes, meat, eggs,
Mm-hmm.
whole eggs, dairy, those sorts of things is, I'd say, the major 2 to 3 things that you need to do to take care of your hair and nails and everything.
So when it comes to protein, there are lots of supplements out there, right, for the protein. So do you think taking that supplement is a good idea, or it won't, or like it should be from food only?
See, primarily we want to get your everything from food, right? All your nutrients that you need, right? Your protein, carbohydrates, fats, micronutrients, everything you want to get from food. But if you were to get it from food, right, it's great. It's next to impossible. You cannot get it from food, right? Because you'll have to construct your diet in a way where you have to micromanage so many things. You have to eat like chicken liver, you have to eat like mutton liver, you have to this kidney, this organ meat, that vegetable, that fruit, to
Mm-hmm.
perfectly construct your diet in a way where you get each and every micronutrient and each and enough protein that you need, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has the time to do that, right? If we were talking about 10,000 years ago, this was basically our diet, and we used to meet our nutrient requirement. Now
Right.
we cannot do that.
Mm-hmm.
So what we can do is make sure that you're eating whole foods, make sure you're eating nutrient dense foods, such that at least majority of the nutrients that you're getting, you get it from food, right? So let's say I eat chicken, I eat a leg piece, right? So
Mm-hmm.
in a leg piece I would get around about 20 to 25 grams of protein, right? And in that leg piece I'll also get other nutrients as well. I'll get some zinc, I'll get some B12, I'll get some B6, other things, right? I'll also get some iron, other micronutrients, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now if you take a protein shake, if you take a whey protein shake, it's going to give me the same 25 grams of protein, right? A
Right.
little better in quality, but roughly this practically it's going to be of the same quality. But it's
Mm-hmm.
going to not give me at all the micronutrients that come with whole food, right?
Right.
Whole food is a package of nutrients. Supplements is individual nutrients, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we also, we haven't even talked about the satiety factor, right? So when you eat a leg piece, you're going to feel really full, right? If you eat a whole chicken, you're going to feel really full. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
affect your satiety circuits. Like satiety circuits is basically uh, appetite regulation. Like when do you get hungry, what things you
Mm-hmm.
crave for, all these things your brain decides, right? So when you eat real foods, foods that is regulated in a healthy way. When you exclusively rely on supplements, that's not regulated in a healthy way. But however, having said all that, I would say protein supplements are basically a gift from God. They are
Okay.
absolutely awesome because they make things very, very easy. But you just
Mm-hmm.
need to make sure that you don't replace food with supplements. Supplements are what the name suggests. It is to supplement your diet,
Right,
right?
right.
So as long as you're eating majorly whole foods and taking whatever supplements that you need to take to nourish your body, it is
Mm-hmm.
perfectly fine. All these protein supplements are proven safe. God knows how many studies are done at this point of time. I don't know why people doubt about it. They
Mm-hmm.
are the safest things ever. Whey protein supplement, the protein supplement is basically practically food, right? It is made from milk. It's practically food. It has absolutely no problem with consuming it. There's no harm in it. There's no side effect to it.
Mm.
Absolutely nothing. For at least for healthy individuals, normal individuals.
Right.
So yeah, the short answer, yeah, they're very good. They're very awesome. But make sure you don't replace food with supplements.
Yeah. So, when it comes to weight loss, let's talk about it. Like, a lot of people do exercise and like heavy workout, and still some of the people don't, lose weight. And recent, like, I was thinking, like, I used to think that like weight loss is mostly happens because of the exercise. Like, once you work out a lot, do cardio and go to gym, that's how you lose the weight. But then by talking to you and by doing some research, I realized I think most of the like weight loss is depends on the diet only, right? It's not depend only on the exercise, uh, right?
Yeah, that is absolutely correct. So I'd say if I had to give throw out numbers, 90% of it is diet or nutrition, and I'd say 10 to 20%, 5 to 10% of it is
Mm-hmm.
basically how much exercise contributes. Right? Because if you see, if you work out as rigorously as you can for 1 hour, right?
Mm.
Do that. You can eat the amount of calories that you burn in literally 15 minutes. You go and
Right,
have a meal at McDonald's, and all the calories that you burn are basically neutralized. That
right.
doesn't mean the exercise was of no use, but what I mean to say is weight loss is primarily driven by calorie in, calorie out. How many calories you consume, how many calories you
Mm.
burn, right?
Right.
And when we are talking about losing weight, controlling for the calories in, like how much food you are eating, what kind of food you're eating, and how you're managing all that is much more important and effective. I would say I would use that word than just focusing on exercise. Exercise is super important to
Mm-hmm.
keep your energy expenditure high, to keep your body in general health. Right, exercise has a ton of benefits. We don't need to
Right,
sell exercise, right?
right.
But exercise isn't the answer for weight loss. Diet is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not any fancy diet like a keto diet or a paleo diet or something like that. Eating healthy foods in the right quantity and proportion with proper discipline is where the answer you're looking for when it comes to weight loss.
Cool. So, let's talk about. I think we talked a lot about the diet. Like, we talk a lot about the foods, and I think कुछ लोगों के दिमाग से ऊपर चला जाएगा something.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about the diet story, your startup, like your venture. So,
Uh-huh.
what's your
Mhm.
mission? Like, what exactly you are doing at Diet Story? What's your mission here?
That's it. Okay. So see, my one of the major mission is to tell people that eating food, being healthy, taking care of your health doesn't have to be complicated, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can you can do your work, you can look like a normal person, you can go at the restaurant and you can enjoy a meal with your friends and do all the things that normal people are supposed to do, and still when you're at home you can take care of your health by eating healthy foods, right? There on social media, on media, up until now we have had a belief that a health conscious person is something who is someone who never eats junk food, is someone
Right.
who never eats sugar, right? He
Mm-hmm.
only eats like salads and greens and chicken breast and egg whites and oats, all these
Right.
fancy foods like
Yeah.
broccoli
Yeah.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that. That is
Mm-hmm.
bullshit. That is bullshit, right? You can take care of your health by eating normal ghar ka khana, right? You just need to know exactly what are the things that you need to, what are the foods that you need to eat in larger proportions, what are the
Mm-hmm.
foods that you need to eat in smaller proportions, when to eat, how to eat, all those sorts of things, right? So, a major goal is to tell people that taking care of your nutrition doesn't have to be very fancy. Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
going to look you with a weird look, that this is like a health conscious
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
He's not going to enjoy shawarma with us, or he's not going to enjoy a pizza with us, right? I eat
Mm.
with my friends and still try and have a healthy diet when I'm at home, right? So let's say you're having 3 meals a day. That is 21 meals or so in a week. Even if you have like 5 meals outside your house, you still have like 16 meals where you can take care of your health, right? And those 16 meals don't have to be complicated. Just follow the basic principles that go with your biology that is proven by science. It's really not complicated. not at all fancy, not at all bland and boring. You can actually enjoy that healthy food and take care of your health for the rest of your life, right? So uh, making eating healthy simple is one of, I would say, one of the major goals. And the second one of the most major goals is removing the myths and bullshit around the topic of weight loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because weight loss people think is a one time process, right?
Right.
It's a sprint. People think it's a sprint. You take your
Mm-hmm.
all on effort and you do some sort of diet, keto diet, paleo diet, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Once that's done, it's done. It's like you lost 50 kgs and you're magically maintain it for the rest of your life. It
Yeah.
absolutely doesn't work like that. Like, it absolutely doesn't work like that. If you really want to lose weight, people need to understand how hard this process is, how boring this process is, and what
Mm-hmm.
sort of approach you will really, because we are talking about real life here, we are talking about real progress, we are all
Mm-hmm.
adults here. So let's talk exactly what you will need to do if your goal is to lose and maintain your weight, right?
Right.
And that approach is being disciplined with your food, having healthy relationship with food, building the right habits with food, sorting out your behavior patterns. If you have
Mm-hmm.
any mental issues, food anxiety, all those sorts of things, you need to sort them out first before you can think of, I'm going to lose 1 kg a week, I'm going to lose half kg a week, and those stupid sort of goals, right? So those things are for the later. First, we need
Mm-hmm.
to sort out the things that are making you gain weight in the first place, and then slowly, gradually, sort this whole mess out, and get out of that basically, and lose weight and then maintain it, right?
Right.
So I try to have real conversation around that topic, that it is
Mm-hmm.
hard, it is legit hard. Nobody's saying it's not hard, it's very hard.
Right. Right.
How to do it basically, right? I'm not going
Mm-hmm.
to sell you on stupid detox teas, or going to tell
Mm-hmm.
you that I have this magic food that's going to burn fat. I'm going to tell you it's going to hard, but let's go forward. How can we do this, right? How can we start doing this slowly and build ourselves, build our capabilities, such that we can do what it takes to maintain your weight for the rest of your life. So
Right.
that a lot of people along with me are also doing that, and that's, I'm really very happy to see that, because people are getting clarity through that, and people are
Mm-hmm.
starting to walk in the right direction, instead of just buying fat burners and detox teas and things like that.
Yeah. Like you said it right, because what we do is a lot of people do is, अगर भाई की शादी है या if someone is getting married, then भाई जिम लगाना है,
Exactly,
डाइट पे जाना है, अभी शादी होने वाली है भाई, मुझे शेप में आना है. So that's what we Indians do
exactly,
mostly. Like
exactly,
वही पता
exactly.
है सबको, डाइट मतलब वही पता है most of the लोगों को यार. Like like as you're saying कि जो भी myths है basically. Yeah, that's totally correct, man.
The shadi wala part is, I mean, my God, it's like I would say one third of the people, when I get on the first call and they are
Mm-hmm.
looking to sign up, it's like, I have a wedding in November. I need to lose 20 kgs. I have my bhai ki shadi hai, behan ki shadi, etc., etc. I say, don't sign up. It's going to be waste of money. I'm not going to make you lose 20 kgs in 3 months. That's just stupid. You don't even think about that, right? So yeah, that is something, but people are starting to look at it differently. They're
Yeah.
changing. So that's a good thing.
So, what kind of challenges do you face as a coach? When you started this, what kind of challenges did you face, and now what kind of challenges do you face, and how do you overcome these challenges with your venture?
Yeah, that's a very very good question. So first of all, I think one of the biggest challenge that I faced, right? So initially, what happened is, uh, 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 I'll say for a couple of years or so. One
Hmm.
second, huh? For a couple of years or so. Initially, I was just reading through textbooks and reading into the
Hmm.
scientific literature. Was on nutrition forms. I wasn't coaching people, right?
Yeah.
And then I started coaching people, right? So not as a part of profession, just as a hobby. I just wanted people to try
Hmm.
things that I've read on or studied on, right?
Hmm.
So a lot of people, my friends, my family, people from my friend circle and everyone. So I started trying out things on them, and they started seeing results, right?
Hmm.
There's people of like 10 kgs, 12 kgs, 15 kgs, but then they started regaining it back again once I didn't have my support, right?
Hmm.
So
Right.
that basically made me go into this sort of a tangent direction of thinking, that giving out diet plans, giving out diet charts, so to say, right? Or
Hmm.
telling people what to eat in lunch, what to eat in breakfast, or something like that, isn't a solution. That just cannot be a solution, because the moment they stop doing that, they start gaining weight, right? So
Hmm.
what we need to do is really we need to make them understand We need to make them understand like how I understand how the psychology behind it works, like how the process of weight loss works, how it
Mhm.
pans out, how it works inside of your body. When you eat a pizza, what happens when you eat an apple, right? I need to explain all of these things to people. I need to train them, I need to build them up, and then only we have a chance that they will lose weight and maintain it, right? So initially I really struggled with this, the belief that whether this is going to work at all, because
Mhm.
nobody is interested in understanding what happens when you eat something. They just want a diet chart, they
Right.
just want a diet plan. And still to this date, this is one of my biggest struggle, is people don't want to put the effort in understanding and training themselves for the long term, because
Mhm.
that takes legit effort and legit, they need to, it's a job.
Right.
It's a
Right.
good job that they need to do. They need to put effort, they need to put time, they need to put their heart, soul, blood, everything into it in order to understand and sort out all those behavior patterns and habits and everything, to reach a point where they can sustainably lose and maintain their weight, right?
Mhm.
So that is something I really, really struggle with, is to get that point across, that diet plans is not going to help you. What's going to help
Yeah.
you is training yourself, understanding how to lose weight, rather than just making yourself lose weight by some or the other way, right? So I'd
Mhm.
say even then it was one of the biggest challenge, even now it is one of the biggest challenge, is that when I'm getting on the first call with someone, how do I explain that? Because they're coming from, they're looking at the transformations from my Instagram, and they're saying, yeah, ye banda to karta hai produce transformation, let's sign up,
Mhm.
let's lose some weight, let's show it off Instagram, right? But
Mhm.
they don't
Right.
know the work that goes be the work that they will need to put themselves mentally, right?
Mhm.
Mentally, psychologically, that they have to put in. And once they sort of have this framework, they are not ready to shift. I mean, they pay a lot of money, but they are not ready to shift. So that is one of the biggest struggle, is before they even sign up, I really try my best to make them understand that this is not a typical diet chart wala program, let's say, right? Or
Right.
this is
Right.
not the process that we are going to go through, right? This is
Mhm.
something that we need to understand deeply, we need to build ourselves, we need to train ourselves, right?
Mhm.
So
Right.
that is one of the biggest challenges I face, to communicate in a way where they really understand what it's going to take to reach the goal that they want to reach.
Mhm. So one more thing, I just had a thought about this thing, like about drinking, about smoking up. Like if someone is drinking like couple of beers a week, or like a wine, or whatever, or they are smoking up or smoking a cigarette. So does that affect the health? Or like should someone like completely quit it, or like what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I'd say, with respect to drinking, I don't, I'm not very familiar with all the research that is there
Mhm.
out there, the science out there behind this. But I'd say it's pretty clear that a couple alcoholic beverages a week doesn't really harm you much, right?
Mhm.
So a few drinks in a week isn't really going to harm you much, right? So if you like to drink alcohol, go ahead, but make sure you drink it in moderation, right? Definitely don't drink it every single day. If you're going to drink it, try to drink it in a disciplined way, right? Fix your target that I'm going to just have, like, let's say, 2 drinks a night or something like that,
Mhm.
and do it in a disciplined, moderated, basically, right? And let's stay on the alcohol topic for now. So alcohol, if you drink in moderation, it doesn't bother your body much, right?
Mhm.
The problem is the food that comes with alcohol, right? So
Mhm.
when you're at a party, when you're drinking with your friends, when you're drinking beers or something like that, the food is extra spicy, it's extra cheesy, it's extra fatty, everything is
Right.
extra calories, right? So
Mhm.
you eat a lot of food than you're supposed to be. Not
Right.
only does that make you consume more calories, not only does it make you gain weight, not only does it make you unhealthy, but it further uh, basically uh, destroys your circuits inside of your brain that run to your body, that regulates your appetite in a healthy way, right? That
Mhm.
stops you from gaining weight, right? So when you eat all these processed foods day in and day out, week in and week out, it's definitely going to harm you, right? Because when you drink alcohol, when you're basically high, you have no control over the food that you eat, right? You're
Right.
just basically stuffing your mouth, right, with whatever is in front of you, right? So I would say food is something that you definitely need to take care of, and you need to be disciplined with the food that comes with alcohol as well,
Mhm.
right? Now
Right.
let's move on to the smoking part now. Smoking is something that is flat out destructive, I would say, right? There is no safe limit for smoking. This is why we see advertisements to quit smoking, not alcohol, because
Mm-hmm.
smoking is way worse than drinking alcohol, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're doing it couple times a week, it's going to harm your body, right? So what smoking does is it creates free radicals, right? So these are really unstable compounds that, how do I explain this simply? So it's basically, there are these billiard balls running inside of your body and damaging all your cells, right? And the more cells they damage, the more faster you age, the more unhealthy you get, the more your chance of getting a cancer increases. Not just lung cancer, but basically any cancer, right? So
Mm-hmm.
smoking is just flat out destructive. Smoking tobacco, smoking weed, smoking anything, right? So that has been proven that it is dangerous, right? You
Oh,
should quit it.
smoking
And
marijuana also?
see, marijuana is a topic that I really haven't studied yet, but
Mm-hmm.
I would say it works in a similar mechanism with smoking tobacco. But marijuana also has other things, other aspects to it, aspects to it that has to do with your mental health, right? So I'm not really familiar with the aspects of mental health, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because some people legitimately use that to improve their quality of life,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So I cannot argue against those. I mean, those people don't even damage their health and still manage to do that. So this is
Mm.
really not a topic where I'm much familiar with, right?
Right. Right.
So, but I can definitely say for sure with smoking tobacco, it's only
Mm-hmm.
harmful. Really no
Yeah. Of
upside to it
course.
at
Yeah.
all, at all.
Right. Totally.
Hmm.
So why are
Hmm.
you so obsessed with coffee, man?
Coffee. Yeah, man. I'm extremely obsessed with coffee. I don't know. I just love coffee. I've always loved coffee, and since say until like a few years ago, let's say 3 years ago or so, two
Mm.
3 years ago, I was just drinking like normal ghar ki coffee. You take Nescafe, you put it inside a cup, you put some milk, some sugar in it, right? You
Mm-hmm.
dissolve it and you drink it, right? So even then, I used to love that. For some reason, I love coffee.
Mm.
And once I started getting into specialty coffee. There's a specialty coffee is basically a branch where okay, I won't go into that. So it's basically real coffee, right? It's real coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Every sort of coffee bean is farmed, is processed, and is roasted in a way to have a whole different sort of flavors and flavor notes and a spectrum of different aromas and things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you really try and grow into that, if you try and grow your palate into that area, coffee is a real art. I mean, it's genuinely an art. So when I'm drinking my morning cup of coffee, it's literally like meditation. I'm taking a sip and I'm literally experiencing all those different flavors. It's just not a bitter compound that I'm
Mm-hmm.
eating. It's
Yeah.
it's not the after effects of the energy that I get from caffeine or something. It's just for the sheer experience of when I take a sip, it unfolds. There are a lot of flavor notes in it. There are a lot of aromas in it and other things. So it's an experience that is
Mm-hmm.
just there's no other thing like that, right? So this is why if you grow your palate into that, and it takes time to start enjoying black coffee and those
Mm-hmm.
things, but if you grow into that, you'll see that it's a whole different world, right?
Right.
A whole different world.
So like what is better, like coffee or tea for our health when it comes to this?
Health.
Yeah,
uh,
for diet or
so
maybe I
I'd
don't
say.
know.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So let's talk about tea first. Right, tea is something that I also love a lot. I just love a lot. Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you are gonna drink like 2 cups of tea, 2 cups a day tea, 3 cups a day, it's fine. It's no problem at all. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like to have a couple biscuits with it. Absolutely fine. Absolutely no problem. Right. It becomes a little problematic when you excessively start to depend on it. People drink
Mm-hmm.
8 cups of 7 to 8 cups of tea every single day. Right, they need it
Mm-hmm.
every 2 hours to stay awake, to stay
Right.
attentive, things like
Yeah.
that, right? That's an obsessive, that's a negative to it, right? You don't want to go that far, right? The
Mm.
other thing that can go wrong with consumption of tea is the stuff that comes with it. Namkeen, bhujia.
Yeah.
People consume it and stuff themselves in crazy proportions with every cup of tea. Like
Mm-hmm.
there are lots of calories to your everyday diet that has no satiety. That's not going to fill you up. That's just going to make you more hungry, going to make you eat more food, and going to make you fat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those things are things that come around tea might be problematic. Putting a lot of sugar in your tea and drinking it too many times, again, problem. Too much sugar, too many calories, all
Yeah.
those sorts of things. Okay? If you're drinking it in moderation, 2 cups a day, 3 cups a day, that's totally 100% fine. One thing good about tea is it doesn't have as much caffeine as there
Mm-hmm.
is in as there is in coffee,
Mm-hmm.
right? So coffee is something that everybody has a different tolerance limit, and there's
Right.
definitely coffee can legit cause problems to it. Tea nowhere comes close to the problems that caffeine can cause you, that coffee can cause
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mm-hmm.
So the average healthy consumption for coffee is 400 milligrams a day, right? So 400 milligrams is basically a medium roast 1 liter of coffee,
Mm-hmm.
right? So 1 liter of black coffee. So 1 liter of black coffee is how many? It's like 5 or 6 cups or so. Some people actually drink 5 or 6 cups, and they do cause it does cause a lot of problems to their mental health, to their physical health, because
Right.
caffeine is something that is going to fuck up your brain. It's going to age your brain. Right? It's going to make you. It's going to disturb your sleep. It's going to disturb your attention span. A lot of people, even if you have mild ADHD, if you consume a lot of caffeine, it's going to increase your attention
Mm-hmm.
is going to fuck up, right? So you don't definitely don't need to overdo on caffeine. Everybody has a different limit with this,
Right.
with respect to caffeine. So you need to figure that out for yourself. So caffeine is something that can harm you in long term, right? So caffeine is good. It's awesome. I love it. I drink it every single day. But you definitely need to control it and drink it in moderation. This is something I struggle with a lot. So I feel people who struggle
Mm-hmm.
with it
Right.
a lot.
Right. Right.
Not drinking, not letting that
Mm-hmm.
go out of proportion.
So, what are you really into outside of your work, outside of diet, and all? What do you do?
Oh, there's a lot of things, man. There's a lot of things. So, from the past couple of years or so, as you must have noticed, I'm into filmmaking, right?
Yeah.
So, most of the times when I'm making videos, I want to make some video. I want to get my camera, shoot something, edit it, make it look really cool, and tell a story or something like that. And then I
Mm-hmm.
pick a topic of some sort of that or something like that to satisfy that urge, right?
Right.
To
Right.
make a video or something like that, right? So, filmmaking is something that I really truly love. Then reading philosophy is something that I really truly love, right? Eastern philosophy. There's a lot of things that I basically love behind my usual work. But I'd say filmmaking is something that takes most of my work,
Yeah.
most of my time.
What are your top three favorite books? And that that maybe you could suggest to our like listeners also, like which books someone can them some books which can help them in diet and in healthy lifestyle as well. Are there any books that
Oh yeah, there are plenty of books. If you are going to talk about diet and health and all those sorts of things, there are plenty of books there are that can really help you. So one I will really recommend is if someone struggles with losing weight, getting
mm-hmm.
healthy, is losing fat, and that sort of thing. There is a book by Hungry. There's a book called Hungry Brain by Stephen Gainey, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is a mind-blowing book. I mean, that book is so damn good. That is basically that is the major book that made me into made me pursue this line of nutrition, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that book is very fascinating. It explores areas of obesity and nutrition that no book has. I haven't read any other book that explores that
Mm-hmm.
area, right? Second is a book called, I say, Fat Loss Forever. So it's a book by Lee Norton. So it's a directly how to guide on how to lose fat, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that book will have that book literally has everything you will ever need to understand in terms of nutrition and the process of weight loss, right? You just follow the instructions, you internalize them in your lifestyle, and you're
Mm-hmm.
going to lose weight. Period, right? So
Right.
Fat Loss Forever by Lane Norton is a really awesome book. And the third is Wired to Eat by Rob Wolf, right? So Rob Wolf is a guy that I respect a lot. That is also one of the reasons I got into nutrition, because
Mm-hmm.
he made all of these sound really fascinating. Everything that has to do with nutrition, he has a perspective of evolutionary biology to nutrition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a perspective I use a lot in my explaining concepts in my video. So
Right. Right.
you always want to look at anything in nutrition or in biology with the perspective of evolution. Like while we were evolving, did we do that, right? Or does that make sense? Not this doesn't have to be black and white, but we need to look at it from that perspective to sort of connect few dots and create theories and look
Mm-hmm.
for evidence, right? So this guy really taught me to do that, and he's very awesome. So Wired to Eat is basically, it doesn't talk about calories much. It doesn't talk
Mm-hmm.
about weighing your food or something like that. Talks about how the human body is hardwired to eat food, what sort of foods it should be looking for, what sort
Mm-hmm.
of food feeds your mind, body, and soul, right? So that is one of the most awesomest books that I can, and it's a very casual. There's not a lot of science in it, right? Unlike the
Mm-hmm.
two other books, there's not a lot of science in it, and anybody can understand it, and it's definitely going to help you a ton.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, how should our listeners get in touch with you for your program?
Oh, for my program, you can just visit www.thedietstory.com/coaching, or you can just DM me on Instagram, which is the_diet_story, the diet story. And yeah, that's pretty much the two major ways that
Cool,
you
cool,
can
cool.
contact me.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this, man. It was our second time, and I think like we discussed a lot of things this time. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
मतलब it was really helpful. अगर कोई सुन रहा है तो उसको बहुत idea आ जाएगा, of course. I think about these
Mhm,
things.
mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, man. You're basically rocking up with this whole podcast thing. This is the 21st episode. Congratulations on that. You're
Thanks,
just like
man.
four episodes away from Silver Jubilee. As
Yeah.
it's called Silver Jubilee, right? 25%. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I hope you grow really a ton. And yeah, thanks for having me, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for doing this, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Bye, bro.